Hineni. If you spent any time reading ancient so-called Gnostic texts, especially Gnostic Christian texts, you probably have read about salvation by Gnosis. And you might be thinking, my goodness, that's not something you're going to hear about in the average spiritual community today. And it's definitely not something that's promoted by the church in its orthodox forms, whether Catholic or Eastern Orthodox, evangelical, Protestant, take your pick. Salvation by Gnosis was suppressed, it was hunted down, and it was rooted out. Possibly because it's not so easy to control someone's Gnosis because it comes from within. So let's take a look at this whole idea of salvation by Gnosis and ask ourselves, what might it have to offer us as an invitation for exploration inside of our own spiritual journey? Shalom and welcome. I'm Lisa Moria from the House of Divine Radiance, and it's my pleasure to be here with you. I am a writer, researcher, a priestess, and a ritualist, and I spend a great deal of time thinking about the intersection between late antique Judaism, or what would be called, I guess, Proto-Judaism, and early Christian theologies that are now considered heterodox or heretical, which are, of course, the very definition of how we understand these alternative Christianities who really just thought of themselves probably as Christianities that we now call Gnostic Christianities. And as I have to say in every video, in case you're new to the channel, the term Gnostic is really not a great term to describe these particular theologies, but we really don't have a better one. There's no scholarly agreement on what else to call them. But we do know that they were interested in salvation by Gnosis. And when we talk about Gnosis, we're not just talking about information. We're talking about something that is deeply known from within. You can know a lot of information about, secret codes or divine mysteries or, as we're going to see, the heavenly landscapes. That was a big theme. But just knowing it is not enough. That knowing is intended to unlock a knowing inside of you that is only possible when you become still and present enough to engage with what is actually within you. Perhaps parts of yourself, innate wisdom that you have, or little knowings or nudges that have been always in the back of your mind telling you what direction to go, but maybe you haven't been listening to them. This is the kind of thing that's more Gnosis than just the idea of knowledge. It's this inner wisdom that comes forth. I like to think of it really as embodied recognition. And if you ask 10 different teachers what is Gnosis, of course you'll get different answers. But for me, it's about embodied recognition. On my path, even though I was born Christian, I converted to Judaism, I have realized in recent years that a great deal of my path has been informed by the Gnostic way of discerning and embodying, bringing forth what is within. And it's been very interesting for me to delve into the texts of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th centuries, many of them produced in Egypt, although scholars believe that a lot of these actually were originally in Aramaic and they came down to Egypt because of the climate in Egypt. We have copies of them from Egypt where, in Coptic, whereas we don't maybe have the originals that were produced in, say, Syria or what is today southern Turkey. But this whole idea of embodied recognition. Do you know when your body is speaking to you about a truth, when a situation is misaligned, when a person may not be dealing honestly with you, when something seems like, it's perfect, but it's not? Do you walk past that embodied recognition, or do you pause and consider that sacred wisdom and guidance, reading the holy text that you are? We oftentimes think of the Gnostics as being not embodied, right? They were all about let's hate the material world and let's go to the other world. But the reality is they did an incredible amount of work with the body in order to develop their capacity to discern and work with that information that flowed from within. And even how they worked with the other realms, how they prepared to navigate the celestial realms after death, for example, well, it all begins in the body. And I like to think today we're just a lot more welcoming to speak about the embodied side of Gnosis. I think of a passage in the Gospel of Thomas that says very famously, if you bring forth what is in you, what is within you will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what is within you will destroy you. It was a very sobering question for me to ask myself, how much of my sense of vitality and aliveness, my sense of life abundantly, as Yeshua, the first century Galilean teacher, said, as he framed it, how much of that life abundantly have I been missing because I have not been bringing forth what is within me, and it is literally killing parts of myself, or at the very least suppressing them. In this way, if we think about salvation by Gnosis as bringing forth this embodied recognition, what happens when we bring forth the embodied recognition? Well, we become fully human. We become undivided. If you look at numerous Gnostic texts from different schools, especially the Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Maryam, which come variously from the Nag Hammadi library, which was found in Upper Egypt, from the Bruce Codex or the Askew Codex. There's various texts from these different groupings that have been basically found at various points in Egypt. If you look at these various texts, one of the interesting things they share is this idea that you will become a complete human by gaining this gnosis, or perhaps I would say opening or unlocking the capacity for this embodied recognition within. This complete human concept has a long history. It actually has a history in Proto-Judaism and Israelite religion, which we'll look at in future episodes. Many people are surprised by that. They just assume it was an entirely Hellenistic concept. Or a Greco-Roman ideal, and there may be elements of that, but there is a strong tradition of the heavenly human as the celestial template for the ultimate fully realized self that already exists in the tradition of Proto-Judaism up to this point. So for example, in the Gospel of Maryam, where Maryam, presumably Maryam Magdalene, encourages the other disciples not to be frightened or dismayed, because the teacher, basically referring to Yeshua, the teacher gave us everything needed to be Rome, fully human or completely human. Rome is the Coptic word there. And it's this concept of being undivided. Imagine a reality in which you are fully in a partner with your embodied recognition within, and you don't have to become, you don't have to split yourself. Oh, I got to go over here and be something different for this person. I got to be this over here. How much of your spiritual vitality, even your life force, your physical and emotional vitality is sapped by the divisions within, or by being a different person to different people, or, well, I don't like this, it's not aligned, but I have to put up with it in my life for XYZ reasons. We strip all that away, and we become more and more and more aligned by listening to and discerning and working with the divine wisdom within, which is our embodied recognition, which the body will always, I believe, will always partner with your mind, your emotions, your spirit to help guide you in the path that's meant for you, which may not be meant for someone else. In doing that, you have the chance to become fully complete. That's been my experience in my life. The more I have eliminated those divisions, or just released them, blessed them and broken them and sent them on their way, the more aligned I've become, and the more I show up every day with my full self. It's made a 100% difference in my physical energy, my spiritual vitality, my sense of purpose, my ability to do the things I care about, to focus. It's amazing. Now, the path I walk, I happen to call Hineni, which simply is a Hebrew word that means here I am. And Hineni is undivided presence. And let me tell you, I'm convinced the greatest superpower in the world, because I've experienced the effects of it, is the capacity to be present in an undivided way with reality exactly as it is in this moment, not needing to change it or look away from it. Living wisdom, the wisdom we have within us, is a treasure. That is our embodied gnosis. It's our connection to the divine feminine wisdom in the Hebrew tradition and Jewish tradition. She's always been connected to wisdom. That's something else we'll explore in future videos. We have this divine feminine connection. Christianity, of course, styled it as the Holy Spirit and then made it masculine. But we have access to that. And that is how we access our embodied gnosis. The Holy Spirit is a gnosis technology. I want to put that out there as a possibility or a concept. And embodied gnosis becomes a lived expression. Me in my body, being present, undivided with the moment as it is, no matter whether I want to be resistant to it, I like it or love it or anything else. I commit to become fully present with this moment. I'm able to discern the living wisdom that is within me, and embodied gnosis is when I bring that wisdom forth. And what's the fruit? Wholeness. I become a complete human. So this is, I would like to clarify at this point, this is not just self-improvement dressed in ancient vocabulary. This is a very real path. You can study it in these ancient texts. While we cannot know for sure how these people thought completely about their path, and certainly there may be differences, the texts are alive, they are living, they are meant to transmit living wisdom and to activate within us living wisdom. So when you come to an ancient text like the Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Maryam, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the books of you, Pistis Sophia, some of these texts which seem so strange because they're just so far from the Christianity that we've been given over the last 2,000 years, or the Judaism. If we're talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls and a lot of the pseudepigraphic Jewish texts, so different. And yet, they have the capacity, not necessarily to give us the truth, but to unlock a knowing within us that is very deep. One of my favorites is the books of you and the Pistis Sophia, which were actually some of the earliest Gnostic texts to be found, and some of the ones that simultaneously have received the least attention. The scholars are like, it's weird, I don't want to deal with it. I spend a lot of time with those texts, and I walk away transformed every time. I walk away with the insight I need for my life, and it's not because they're the only truth, but because they are wisdom that literally was hidden treasure for our 1900 years, 1800 years, no, 1500 years, something like that, in the sand, preserved due to the incredible conditions in Egypt that keep papyrus from rotting, parchment from disintegrating. And now we have that wisdom again, it's available to us. So let you end with a question here. What is within you that you already know is there? Your body, your heart, your spirit has already nudged you, but you haven't embodied it yet. Or maybe you haven't even been willing to acknowledge it. What might happen if you became undivided in the present moment, sat with that wisdom, and allowed it to guide you as to what's right for you, regardless of what anyone else tells you to do? Bring forth what is within you, for what is within you will save you. I'm Lisa Moria. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like the video, share with someone you think might enjoy it, or visit me at houseofdivineradiance.com, where there's more on upcoming immersions, a lot more content, a complete bibliography, I didn't say complete, evolving bibliography of sources that I use in my research if you're wanting to go and study these texts for yourself, and scholars who've done scholarly work on them. And I hope to see you back here next time for more talks on Embodied Gnōsis. Hineni, Hineni.